It's a sensitive, delicate deal, dragging brand new songs out of the sky, trading ideas, accepting some, storing others in the maybe later bag, moving on and along with hardly a plan. During the Zepp years, I never imagined a full-scale album project without the other guys, and even less the idea of new writing partners. But then, since 1981, I've enjoyed many amazing, exciting musicians in the sharing, in the writing, in production and engineering. Men and women who encouraged and enlightened, introducing me to crazy curves I could never have imagined. For this podcast, I'm going to be picking out some songs from here and there along the way, mixing constant shifts in sound and intention from across this long old time. There's a story in all of them. I'm Robert Plant, and this is Digging Deep.
Hello and welcome to Digging Deep with Robert Plant, episode 9. My name is Matt Everett. Thank you very much for listening. So the track that Robert has chosen for this episode is a beautiful song from one of the most famous rock albums of all time. In fact, it's more than just a rock album. That's partially because this album embraced elements of acoustic and folk music and, in its lyrics, traditional storytelling, of which this song is a great example. It's also the only song by the band in question to feature a guest vocalist alongside Robert.
Took her bow and then she turned to go. The Prince of Peace embraced the gloom and walked the night alone. Dancing in the dark night, sing to the Lord.
This episode, we're tackling the Battle of Evermore from Led Zepp, or Led Zepp 4, or however you're supposed to describe it, the Runes record. I never quite know what to say.
I don't either. I don't know. It's just, we had so much in those days in Zeppelin. There was so much of a deal. In fact, it becomes almost like a kind of Spinal Tap thing where sometimes you can't put the record out, even though you've finished it, because you haven't got the artwork right. And then, are you going to put the name on the album cover? Are you kidding? Put the name of the band on the album cover? That's far too corporate. But of course we want everybody to know about it and buy it and sell it and hate it and love it and all that. So, yeah, I don't know what it's called. The Four Symbols is sometimes what it's called.
Ground is rich from tender care. Repay, do not forget. No, dance in the dark night. Sing to the morning light. Clouds turn to brown and
Here we have Battle of Evermore from the album Led Zeppelin, Four Symbols, November 1971.
pick up your swords and the sky is filled with good and bad. Mortals never know.
Why are we focusing on Battle of Evermore then? Why have you chosen this song?
I've chosen this song because I want to if I'm going to talk about music of my time, from start to finish, more or less, from the beginnings to right up to now, then I'd like to think that I'd like to sort of illustrate the dynamics of where things come and go and how extreme these dynamics are musically. And of course, Zeppelin 4 was, following the Zeppelin 3, where Jimmy and I spent quite a lot of time up in Snowdonia, looking for what Dan from the Black Keys, or all these people say it's the difficult third album, but it's not. It's a difficult every album. So the Mumford struggled with the third one, then the fourth one, and so we were very, very fortunate in the Zeppelin camp because there was a lot of amazing variety of stylistic influence in everybody's play. So Battle of Evermore, as an instrumental piece, was beautiful, and it was also the way it sounded. It was it had some kind of essence of heralding, of drawing people together, of summoning a mindset, if you like. And that sounds insane. So, but the Battle of Evermore is almost a sort of an adventure in some dark place once upon a time where the people are called together. There's a sort of some kind of fanfare. So you have two parts of the story. You have the fact of the impending sort of travesty on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have this call to unity. And as a song, I mean, I suppose really it's a great moment, but I'd started to write it so that you had a section A that told the story of the would-be disaster, and then I had a section B which was the triumph and the rallying, and I tried to sing them both. And it was very, very insane idea. Obviously, I could drop all the section A vocals in, and then I could do another pass and put the answers or the compliments or the. But it's first of all, it didn't sound right in one voice, in one pitch, and second of all, it might be a little interesting to consider that at least Jimmy and I were running side by side with the incredible string band and with Roy Harper and with the Straubs and with Fairport Convention, who were really something else back then, and they still are as members of the Licensed Fiddlers Association now. They make a really good job of having red faces and playing diddly-diddly-dee music, but I love them to death. But at that time, they had Richard Thompson and they had Sandy and Anne Swarbrick and Dave Mattox. It was just, and Simon, and it was insanely good music. And at times there was, with Trevor Lucas and Fotheringay, there was stuff going on there, and there was a great attraction for and a draw for me towards music of a rural kind with a rural story.
I hear Horace's thunder down in the valley below. I'm waiting for the angels of Babylon, waiting for the eastern glow. The apples of the valley, oh, the seeds of happiness. Ground is rich.
Having worked recently with Seth Lakeman with a great result for all of us, really. It was a real melding of style and spirit. It's interesting to see that Seth goes back to his continued rise in popularity and success, and his songwriting is growing more and more. A bit like Liza Carthy and so on, and Martin and so on, and Shirley Collins and all these great singers, June Tabor, Maddie Pryor. Everybody's singing about instances in history or circumstances or in the industrial north, or there's all these sort of amazing kind of pictures of a life in turmoil quite often. So in a way, Battle of Evermore is a little bit like something from Liege and Leaf, from the Fairport thing about Lord Donald's been up to no good and the gardeners come through the window, and except for I spending all my time really in the Cambrian mountains, I always felt there was unfinished business there, and there was still a rub going on between two different tribes of people, So I felt that, and I felt lyrically I had to write something that would, get it out. Very lucky, really, because you can 48 years later or whatever it is go, well, yeah, that was Louis Louis Part 2 or whatever it was. But sometimes I think we really hit a vein of something really very, very special. And And that was one of those songs where the story, the fable, the night before some impending doom was almost averted by the spirit of the people.
Her voice is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a remarkable. It's an instrument, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you listen to when she was with Fotheringay, there's an amazing clip on YouTube of John the Gun from the Beat Club in Germany, 1970, and it is probably one of the most amazing displays of beauty in music. Very sparing and very, very beautiful. It's incredible. Her voice was great. And I could go out with her for the night and have the wildest, greatest, most charming time together. I've seen a photograph of us when we were really happening. And we only cut one song together, but it's a photograph when we were both voted #1 British vocalists in the Melody Maker, and we're just sitting somewhere in a heap, and and I thought the year before it was Engelbert Humperdinck and Petula Clark, so something had happened, and I don't know whether it was for the better, but yeah, it was good, and that whole Fairport scene and that whole deal of so many artists who lean back into the songs of Britain. It's something else. So you maybe in 100 years' time, if anybody ever hears that, they'll go, "Oh, it must have been tough in the 20th century. Listen to that. Throw down your plough and hoe."
I just like as well, there's only ever been one other vocalist on a Zepp recording, and she's the one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you returned to it. You performed it with Alison Krauss, that track. And you did it with Christina Donahoe as well. So it's got life.
Yeah. Well, Cropperty Festival, Dave Pegg runs Fairport Cropperty Festival. He asked me to tell as many people as I can. I fear this may come out after the event, but I mean, this year Sandy's daughter's coming from America, and it's going to be the first time she's been amongst her mom's old comrades and chums. It's like an old folks' home for folkies. Old folks yeah. But it's a beautiful song, and it was good, and the mixing and the engineering, the production of it's great. It's really good.
That was Digging Deep with Robert Plant, episode 9. If you enjoyed it, the rest of the series thus far is up on your podcast provider, which is where you'll also be able to hear the next episode. So hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And this Digging Deep podcast has inspired Robert to release a new limited edition box set. It's coming out on Robert's own Esperanza label, and it's also called Digging Deep. It features 8 7-inch singles and features tracks from each of Robert's solo albums, including hit singles, rarities, and B-sides. This is the first time the remastered versions of these tunes has ever been made available on vinyl, and they come in this bespoke hardback book format, including the original 7-inch artwork. It's a thing of beauty, and that's coming out on Friday the 13th of December. You can pre-order it right now at robertplant.com. We'll see you for the next episode soon, where we will be tackling another song from Robert's incredible back catalogue. Until then, I've been Matt Everett. Thanks for listening. This has been a Cup and Nuzzle production.